Welcome to Lively Lewis Stories.
Buckle up, because you're about to join Levi and Ivy on an adventure.
All you need is your imagination, and off we
go! Lively Lewis Stories!
One spring day, Levi was playing explorer in his backyard. He would pretend that there was some amazing treasures hidden just among the vegetable plants in the garden that he had to find before it was stolen by a mischievous pirates. But in his imagination, the garden was an overgrown jungle, and the treasure was hidden in an enormous, dark cave, otherwise known as his dad's tool shed. Levi, the brave explorer, makes his way through the darkened cave, narrowly escaping spiders, lizards, and snakes, said Levi in a low whisper as he actually made his way over to the garden hose, old sports equipment, and planting supplies in the shed. Just one more step and the treasure will be safe, Levi thought to himself as he reached out his outstretched hand over a rushing river inside the cave, which was really just an empty kiddie pool that he and Ivy used last summer. "I've got it!" Levi shouted as he ran out of the cave holding a giant rare diamond. Or if you saw what Ivy saw, who was also playing in the backyard, Levi ran out of the shed holding a brick over his head that was left over from their new patio. He was so excited with his discovery that he ran right over to the picnic that Ivy had set up. "Levi, what are you doing?" Ivy shouted as she picked up the scattered teacups and fruit snacks that Levi accidentally knocked all over the yard. "Sorry, Ivy, I didn't see you there," Levi said. "I just rescued this rare giant diamond from that scary cave. Isn't that cool? Don't be so upset, it's just a little picnic." Ivy rolled her eyes and turned away from Levi in a huff. He was sorry, but Ivy didn't believe him. He didn't want her to be sad, so he offered to help clean up and ran inside to get some paper towels to clean up the spilled tea. But as he ran through the back door, he was still holding the brick. He ran smack into his dad and dropped it right on his foot. "Ow, ow, ow, my foot!" shouted Levi's dad. "What are you doing running through the house with a brick, Levi?" "Dad, I'm so sorry," Levi said, helping his dad hop to a chair to sit down. "I'm sure you'll be okay. It's not that heavy." "Yeah, I'll be fine, but you really have to be more careful," he said. After hearing the commotion, Levi's mom came running into the kitchen to see what had happened. Once she heard that Levi and his dad were all right, she saw that there were muddy footprints all over the kitchen floor from Levi's shoes. "Levi, what have I told you about wearing dirty shoes in the house?" his mom asked. "You have to check your shoes before you come in. Now I have to clean up this mess." "I'm so sorry, Mom, but isn't today the day you clean the floors anyways?" said Levi, grabbing some paper towels. His mom just stared at him. "It seems like you're having a bad day, buddy," said his dad. "Maybe you need to be by yourself for a bit and reset." Levi felt bad about all the things that happened, but he also felt like everyone was overreacting a bit. He walked back outside and tried to help Ivy clean up, but she just wanted to be left alone. Levi walked back towards the shed with his head down. "Maybe it would be better if I was just invisible. That way I wouldn't be in anyone's way," Levi thought to himself as he stepped into the shed and sat down on the coiled-up garden hose. "I wish this was a real cave, and then I could just stay in here away from everyone," he thought. Just as he thought that, Levi heard a noise from behind him. He whipped his head around to see what it was. There in the corner of the shed was a small wooden box. Levi had never seen it before, and being a curious kid, decided he had to take a look. He slowly opened the lid, and inside were an old pair of sunglasses. The frames were thin and metal, and the lenses were mirrored. They looked nothing like he'd ever seen before. Certainly nothing that people nowadays would wear, but Levi liked them. He thought they would look good on him when he was playing explorer and decided to show them to Ivy. So before he stepped out of the shed, he put them on. As he did, he felt a tingle on his skin. He didn't think much of it and walked over to Ivy. "Hey, Ivy, look at these cool sunglasses I found in the shed," Levi said, standing next to his sister. Ivy looked around as if she heard him, but she didn't see him. "Where are you, Levi?" she asked. "Stop playing games. It's not funny." "What do you mean, where am I?" Levi responded. "I'm standing right next to you." "Very funny," Ivy said. "I'm going inside. Don't follow me." Ivy stood up right in front of Levi. She never acknowledged him and walked right inside the house. That was weird, Levi thought, and followed her into the house. His mom and dad were still in the kitchen, so he decided to show them the sunglasses and see if they knew where they came from. "Mom, Dad, take a look at these cool shades," Levi said. Look at what? Where are you, Levi? His mom said, looking under the table. It's not the time for pranks. I have to clean the floor. Yeah, buddy, and I have to ice my foot, said his dad. Levi couldn't believe it. His parents were acting like they couldn't see him either. He decided to head back outside and try to figure this out. Maybe they were trying to teach him a lesson. But what kind of lesson? He stopped next to the living room window and thought he'd see how the sunglasses looked on him. He turned to see his reflection in the window, and to his surprise, there was no reflection at all. Levi was shocked, scared, and a little bit intrigued by what was going on. What is happening here? He exclaimed. Am I invisible? Levi stood there shocked for a minute. He slowly reached up to touch his face, and much to his relief, it was still there. So why could no one else see him? As his hands were on his face, he couldn't help but think maybe it was the sunglasses. All of this did start right after he put them on, so he quickly took them off, then looked for his reflection in the window again. There I am, Levi said in an excited voice. It's the sunglasses. They make me invisible. Since Levi was having such a bad day, he decided to see if he could use his new invisibility sunglasses to have a little fun. He popped his new shades back on and walked down to the ice cream shop. They had samples of a few new ice cream flavors on the counter for people to try. People usually just took one sample each, but since no one could see, Levi thought, why not take a few more? He gobbled down sample after sample when the person working the counter wasn't looking. He knew they couldn't see him, but they would see the sample cup floating in the air when he picked it up, so he thought it was best if he ate his ice cream when they were busy doing something else. Hey, where did all the samples go? Said the girl working the ice cream counter. That's so weird. I thought I put a whole bunch out just a minute ago. Levi laughed to himself as he turned to leave. He was headed home, but when he walked past the park, he noticed the carnival, which was opening that weekend, was testing out all their rides. Ooh, since no one can see me, why not jump on a few rides? Levi thought to himself as he ran towards the Ferris wheel. Levi jumped in an open cart as the few other carnival workers got on to test the ride too. This is amazing, Levi whispered to himself as he went round and round. He could see his house from the top and couldn't help but think of his mom, dad, and Ivy. Why did they have to get so mad anyway? The things he did weren't that bad, and he said he was sorry. Once that ride was over, he jumped on the carousel, the teacups, and took a run through the fun house. Being invisible is incredible, Levi thought. Mom, Dad, and Ivy would love these rides and all those new ice cream flavors. But when that thought entered his head, his happiness turned to sadness. He missed his family and he wondered if they missed him too. Levi decided to head back home and see what they were doing. When he got there, he walked upstairs to Ivy's room. She was sitting on the floor putting away her picnic stuff. I can't believe Levi messed up my picnic, she said to her teddy bear. I set it all up for him too, but he's always too busy to play with me. Oh no, I didn't know Ivy was setting up the picnic for me, Levi thought. That's why she was so upset. Then he went downstairs to look into the kitchen. His mom had just finished cleaning up the muddy footprints he left all over the floor. That was a really big job, she said to herself. I can't believe it happened right after I finished cleaning the floor this morning. Oh no, I didn't know Mom had just cleaned the kitchen floor before I ran in, Levi thought. That's why she was so upset. Finally, Levi walked into the living room to see his dad. He found them lying on the couch with his foot wrapped in a bandage. He was on the phone and said, Yep, that's right. I can't make it to the soccer game today because I hurt my foot this morning. I know, I was really looking forward to it too. Oh no, I didn't know Dad had a soccer game today, Levi thought. That's why he was so upset. Now, Levi knew why everyone reacted the way they did. It may have not seemed like a big deal to him, but it was to them. Hey, has anyone seen Levi? He heard his mom call from downstairs. No, I haven't seen him, answered his dad. I haven't seen him since I told him I didn't want his help cleaning, added Ivy when she walked into the room. Levi stood in the doorway and watched as his mom, dad, and sister had a conversation about what happened. I hope he doesn't feel too bad, said his mom. I know it was all an accident, added his dad. He's just an excitable, energetic, curious kid. Also imaginative, added Ivy with a giggle. He thought a brick was a giant diamond. I miss him. I hope he comes back home soon. Everyone agreed. Levi didn't like how sad they all looked. He knew it was time to put the sunglasses away and let everyone know he was okay. He ran back to the shed, put the sunglasses in the wooden box before going back inside the house. Everyone was so excited to see him. "You don't have to say anything," Levi began. "I'm sorry for what I did, and at the time, I just couldn't see why you were all so upset. But now I know. Mom, you had just washed the kitchen floor. Dad, you had to miss your soccer game today. And Ivy, that picnic was for us to share. I'm so sorry, everyone." "Wait a minute. How did you know I had just cleaned the floor?" asked Levi's mom. His dad and sister had similar questions. How could Levi have known any of that? No one told him any of those things. "I just know," said Levi, "and now I see each situation very clearly." "We see you clearly too, buddy," said his dad. "It's important to be seen for who you are, and you're a great kid who just has a lot of energy and excitement to share." That night, everyone played a game together and forgot all about what had happened earlier that day. Levi also learned a very important lesson. Sometimes the things you don't see can be the answer you were looking for all along. Did you learn a lesson from this story?
If so, what was it?
And parents, do your kids have a story idea?
Leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, the idea, and your kid's name for a chance to join Levi and Ivy on their next adventure. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. Come back for more.